they're all going in slow motion and partying, you know, like it's got, it's perfect for a film soundtrack, right? And of course, this one I'm going to let play for a second. Sly and the Family Stone. It's my favorite too. I feel like the party's still going on. It's not over with. I postponed this show. I postponed this show 3 times, I think. Mainly because of the fact that I had assignments due. Like, my homework didn't stop. And so that's my priority right now. So forgive me if I keep pushing things back sometimes because you know, I am going to school. And there's one today, as a matter of fact, I had to do a analysis of a film or a television show. And I decided to do it on the Netflix series, the Squid Games, which is the South Korean drama series that is #1 in the entire world right now in terms of people streaming that particular show. And so it you know, I analyzed it. There's a couple things that I thought maybe I would read it to you, or even just kind of bullet point the highlights that I wanted to share with you about it. I've never binge watched anything in my whole life. And it, like, literally there's a 5. This is what when you're binge watching something, it means that you've watched 5 or more shows of whatever, 5 or more episodes of what you've watched. If you watch 4, you didn't really technically binge watch. And I've allowed myself to go up to the 4 point, but, you know, I've always prided myself. Well, you know what? I haven't, you know, I don't binge watch anything more than that. And, you know, but this time I actually did binge watch it, and even stayed up late. And if you don't, just so you know, if you don't know the plot line, if you haven't really seen it yet, it's really a dystopian type of series. I say it's dystopian with a Faustian twist, because the characters, you know, it starts out with the protagonist, who is, you know, one of the regular screenplay writing tropes of the misguided dad. He has a gambling problem. He owes a bunch of money. He wins a lot of money at a horse race, but then loses it all. And it turns out that he gets invited to play in what they call the Squid Games, where the elite are actually betting on them like horses. All right. And of course, they play these childhood games. And then, you know, like the if you lose the game, basically you die. But then, you know, the last winner gets billions of dollars, right? So anyway, what's interesting about it is recently, since this series too, there has been cryptocurrency that people have invested in. The people that invested in it have lost millions of dollars. They did something what they call a pull the rug, or pulling the rug, where they, you know, let people put money into the cryptocurrency, and then they pulled the rug out from under them and said there's $0 left, and just ran with the money. And they're saying that that is not associated with the series. There was also in one of the scenes, the first thing is green light, red light, where the characters play green light, red light, and there's like this robotic child doll that, you know, if they go to red light and they move, then the doll eye censors it and you know, shoots them dead. That's the first scene. I know I probably should have said spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. In Sydney, Australia, they actually put this doll up, you know, they installed the doll. Hi, Michael Williams. Nice to see you. Hi. They installed the doll, right, for the public, and they allowed people, if they had a vaccination card that they could verify, they were allowed to take pictures and play the game. Of course, they didn't get shot or anything like that, but they still had to practice social distancing. So I find that interesting that they're using it as like a photo op. Their public relations are doing a pseudo event basically to drum up more, I guess, interest in the series. So, and another thing that is most compelling about it is the elite and the depiction of the elite and the depiction of elite paying. See, the protagonist is betting on horses, right? And then, what happens to him is he gets bet on like a horse by the elite. And, the elite are wearing a lot of the, Rothschild type of horns and masks and everything. And they all seem to be white men, which I thought was really interesting that the writer-director, decided to make the elite all white. And I'm wondering if that means that there's a global, because it's appealed globally, right? Is there a global consensus of that the elite are actually composed of white privilege? So I'm just pointing out those things on the film. It makes a lot of, it's almost like, I think it's like social Darwinism, really, in a way. It falls into, that dystopian, even kind of reality show Survivor type of, I think that our society is conditioned. The series questions money and mankind's relationship to it. Would you kill your best friend for it? Would you risk your life for it? Do you have respect for it? Would you give it? Would you use your money for the greater good of people? The dynamics between the characters and the alliances that form, I think says it made a lot of social commentary on that. It was a very compelling series. And let me see. Art Moran says hi. Okay, Tom Morello says culture canceling people thinking in some ways. I don't know, I don't know if I would consider the series to be, I don't think it was really council culture in a sense. But I just found it interesting that all the elite were all white men. Men. No, there was no elite women betting. It was all these sort of, and some of them look kind of paunchy and everything, except for the central host was not, that put it together. All right. And I don't want to give it all away because there's an old wise man character too that's in it. And if you haven't seen it, I'm giving you make sure that you have the spoiler alert on that. So Mark says booing on Frazzle Dazzle video is made by David Todeshity, posting as David Trent, booing on members duped, including myself. Weight haters. I don't know. I wouldn't go with weight haters on that. I just happen to say that some of them were paunchy. Not all of the characters were. Some of them were slim too. I don't think that the film was really having any type of political agenda, like if that's where anybody wants to go with it. I know that there's a lot of well, I'll just stop at that. All right. I'll just but this is a Korean, this is a foreign language drama series, and it's the first one that's ever been as popular as this ever in history. So I just kind of find the topic to be interesting about it, and the dystopian aspect of it and the elite aspect of it. I don't think I mean, let's face it, if you know, the elite and the elite doing these kind of activities is very much a conspiracy. And yet, you know, it's one of the most watched series on television. And it kind of smacks of the Hunger Games. But what's different than the Hunger Games is, and the reason why I call it Faustian, is because all of the characters make a choice to play the game. They even have, you know, an option to vote out of it. They do vote out of doing the game, and then each one comes back for whatever reason that they're playing it, and they sign on the dotted line. And that kind of gives, you know, the people that are running the game the legal, you know, I guess legal protection, right? You know, whatever the clauses are. I don't know. It's just, it was, you know, it's not a perfect series, right? But in terms of, you know, the series still uses certain, you know, formulaic things that we've seen in other movies. But my argument to that was that, you know, that familiarity oftentimes helps people to, you know, it relieves anxiety in what they're watching because they kind of can predict what's going to happen next, but not really, right? It's kind of like one of those kind of series. Hi, Raven. Nice to see you here. Nice to see you here tonight. All right, so let me get to the nugget of what I really want to talk about tonight. And, you know, I've also changed the title of the show a few times just to kind of like refocus. You know, I really did want to do kind of a, you know, like a holiday theme of what's going on, because that is what's happening. Okay, so to verify or acknowledge what the title of this video, where it's Trick or Treat Tells, because I'm going to tell you a story that is true for me, and I can verify my viewpoint, and I will give you why I think something. All right, I'm not meaning to slander anybody. All right, because I did get notification from one of the people that I'm going to discuss, who is also in the chat, that Sarah informed him, Sarah Rachel Adams, that her lawyers would be watching me, and that they would be checking to see if to make sure that I didn't slander Sarah. And first of all, just to kind of like, let me see. You know, because I'm not really sure they're really here. So maybe I should, you know, ask the Magic 8 Ball if Sarah's lawyers are actually watching this. And so I'll shake it up. So is Sarah's lawyers here tonight? All right. Ask me later. Okay, I will go ahead and ask that later if they are here. Tom Morello will probably be commenting in the chat tonight. You can see that he is there. I did let Tom know that later on I would give him a link if he did want to come onto the show, but I do have some serious reservations at this point. And I'm going to let you know why I am wanting to share this with you. First of all, if you are new to my channel, thank you for being here. Although I do see that a lot of people, most of the people that are here, I have, you know, I know. So I don't think anyone's really new tonight. But I did get some new subscribers, and I believe probably from the show that I did with Stephen Cambion and Kevin Moore and the Althea Project and M. Seeker when we about Simon Parkes, the hidden truth about Simon Parkes. So that is on my channel too, if you do want to check that out as well. Okay, so here's what happened. I got a message from this profile right here that's in the chat, Tom Morello. that made, and by the way, Tom Morello, there's a Tom Morello that is the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine, and what was the other one? Audioslave, I think, as well. He's known as that. So what I find interesting is that some of the people in this particular media, their name is actually the same as another famous person. For example, even Lauren Pritchard, right, whom I have mentioned before. If you Google her name, there's also a famous singer with that name. And also the name Miles Johnston, there is a famous artist, painting artist that is also known as Miles Johnston. I mean, maybe there's really nothing to that, I mean, and I'm, it's a pure coincidence. Although I do want to point out, I have done some research, and the actual Tom O. Morello, because there's an O in the middle of the name. That's it. There's actually an O. Now I have here's where I should probably start the story out. I have done research. I've gone to Ben Verified. I've double checked phone numbers. I've noticed 2 different Facebook accounts from this person. And I'm going to give you the reason why I have a reservation and about the authenticity of the profile that is commenting in this chat. I have not seen their face yet. And so I want to say that as well. Okay, so here's what happened. This profile right here in the chat, Tom Morello, left me a message on, I believe it was the video that I did that's titled Tales from the Mothership. Sarah Rachel Adams and Lauren Pritchard, that particular title that's there. I got a message saying the person claimed that Sarah had done some stuff to him and that he wanted to talk to me about it. I also noticed that if you, and sometimes you get messages from people on Facebook. If you're not their friend, it goes into a box that gives you a notification that somebody wants to speak with you, and you have to get permission to converse with them. There was originally from a Facebook profile that goes underneath the name Tom Moore, M-O-R-E. The reason being that I understood from Tom Morello is because there is a Tom Morello, it's much easier to be identified as Tom Moore. On, I believe, October 5th, it might have been the 7th. I'd have to probably go back and look at the thing. There was a message from him pretty much just saying like, oh, you're talking about, well, you know what? Let me just actually, just question me about Sarah, knowing that I was talking about Sarah, and I believe Lauren too, and seemed to have their own whatever. And I guess I didn't respond to that. Somehow, and again, he is my Facebook friend right now. He has watched me post a few things on Facebook, and I know that. And I've allowed him to stay my Facebook friend. And I did say that I would give a link to this particular show because everybody does have, a right to defend myself. But I also have a right to make sure that I'm safe. And I have a right to question people that approach me in this particular media, and especially when they are associated to somebody that I have issues with. When they're associated to somebody that has engaged in cyber harassment and cyber bullying and threats for quite a while now, that's not slander, that is fact. And if Sarah's lawyers are in fact watching, I have a huge digital paper trail of the things that she's done and said, and that I can verify and back everything that I'm saying here right now or have said previously on any of my other channels. As a matter of fact, Sarah has went and sent contacted other show hosts, one of which was on the show that I did with The Hidden Truth of Simon Parkes, because I did get it from them. And where Sarah was trying to convince them that I had threatened to rape her and use something that I said in a text and try to construe that as actual evidence. Okay. And that I don't know if Sarah's lawyer, maybe I should do the 8 Ball again and see if, Sarah's lawyers are watching this particular broadcast. Okay. It said, ask again later. I got the same thing again. Well, we'll try again and see if they're actually really here. Now, I want to also specify that, the person, Tom Morello, who is in the chat right now, he's the one who told me that Sarah's lawyers would maybe be listening to what I'm going to talk about tonight. However, he has failed to show me any screenshot of that conversation. He showed me a blurry screenshot about her claiming, or someone claiming, that they were stalking and harassing her and this and that she didn't know them or something like that. But I can't tell who the conversation is directed towards, and it certainly doesn't have my name in it. When I asked him to tell me or show me what he texted me earlier on the Facebook, he told me that it was just a conversation and he deleted it. All right, well, you know what? Maybe that did happen. Maybe that didn't happen. So I don't even know if Sarah even said something like that. And to be honest with you, I'm still not really sure if Sarah even knows this person or has contact with them, really. Okay, so I will tell you why that I think that too as well. So this Tom Morello person in here, I'm stupid. I'm stupid for engaging with somebody and allowing my phone number to this person to know my personal phone number, because I really should be more careful. If you are a person online and the only thing that you have is a cartoon picture of yourself to verify your identity and a name that anybody can create from any Gmail account or whatever, so that you can interact on YouTube, or if you are on Facebook and you don't have one single legitimate picture of your own face and you just created your account, like let's say in August, these things come into question. All right, so number one, the first time I had a conversation with him, I asked Tom, what is it that happened between you and Sarah? He said that she had done a show with him, that he needed money, and that Sarah claimed that she could get him a lot of money to help him with a move or help him be financially solvent so that he can move into another place. And he said, that's great. And so apparently they did a show of which Tom Morello, the Tom Morello profile right now, is not able to link to me and show me that the show actually really took place. I did get sent a picture that I'm not sure if it hasn't been doctored or not, where it looks like there's a picture of Sarah and him in the same room, but I can't, and it looks like it's been uploaded to a profile, some sort of social media. It's got that look to it. And I said, can you give me the link of where this is posted at? At which point he said that he did not have the technical ability to do that. But let me take you back before this, before I'm getting to this point in our initial discussions. He told me that Sarah did a show. He had a GoFundMe for this. And then, he didn't get the $50,000 or the $100,000. Or apparently he says she promised him $10,000 of her own money to help him out. And she kind of dissed him. This is what he told me. Now, I don't know this is fact, but this is the conversation that he told me. that she dissed him and said, well, I'm not your mom, or I'm not your mother, or whatever. Okay. Now, the thing that really was a red flag to me about Tom Morello, and I don't know, like even in our conversation today, he used it as a whipping board for me. Like I offered to pick you up for lunch and drive out to meet you, as if, he knows full and well that I did not want to do this. I did not want to let him know where I lived at, that I felt uncomfortable that he was pushing to pick me up at a specific location when I really didn't even know who he really was, or that he was who he said he was. To me, there's no reason to talk to a woman like me who is a public personality. And by the way, let me reiterate for your team Sarah or whatever, whoever's connected to Sarah, whether the lawyer is listening to me or not, you should do a checkup on who I am exactly. I am I may not be like really big today, but I am a celebrity, and I have actually worked in the entertainment industry. And I actually had 15 minutes of fame, meaning that I was on a hit reality show, and I am a former reality television star. So in the world of the entertainment business, if you are cyberbullying or harassing or making threats or stalking somebody, there are a lot bigger repercussions for a person. That is more of note, being that there have been celebrities who have been found, stalked, and murdered, that you guys should, Sarah, you should start to back off. I am, and let your lawyers know if they are listening tonight, that I have actually come to the point of making a police report. This is how severe it is. And, and so, when I talk about Sarah, when I choose to even do a show about Sarah at all, it's usually in regards to show and reveal what I'm going through, which I can prove to people. And, so I have full documentation of it. Why does this matter? Why does it matter that I tell you what Sarah is doing? Well, first of all, I'm media in this media. Okay. I was on Revolution Radio. I was on American Freedom Radio. I've been on the Time for Hemp Network. I've done various other shows online. Okay. And I have actually interviewed Sarah Rachel Adams, I think maybe even like 3 different times before. Now, I have been harassed, or I am being harassed for asking a few questions about her legitimacy. Okay. I am not the only person doing that. And if you have a business, anybody has a business or professes to be something that people are beginning to wonder whether or not it's authentic or not, or that your business is real, and they can actually prove that, or have questions of it, i.e. other hosts that have been reporting on Sarah about med beds and psychic readings for people who have stage 4 cancer that she didn't know was a ringer, and things like this, shows that she even signed up to participate on. I don't see, like, there's a fine line between being a community that gets together and reports on the activities, not only of whether or not they're gang stalking or being underhanded to somebody else, but whether or not that, they are actually ethical in the things that they talk about or that they say that they talk about. All right. And, especially, look, too bad if you have people who are questioning, a new age spirituality, if they're questioning the real existence of extraterrestrials, if they question any of these things, You are talking, you are part of we are part of a community that is searching for what that truth is, but nobody really has the entire answers for it. And when you are talking about channeling and entities and aliens and people having alien experiences, sure, yeah, okay, maybe that is real, and I actually think that there's an element of reality to what is going on. I came into this media searching and believing a lot of the things that were told to me. And yet, as I have evolved as a person in my understanding and my work on becoming media literate and watching the things that happened with BooAnon that was connected to this particular media and the deception behind that, I have to say that someone like myself or like Truth Seekers or like Truth Seekers, we are necessary. Even though what we say may piss you off, it is necessary to have people that will look thoroughly with discernment. Okay, because there's a lot going on in this world right now, and there are a lot of things that I'm not even allowed to say on YouTube. All right, now, I was uncomfortable by the pushiness that Tom Morello exhibit about coming to find out where I lived at and to pick me up. But, Tom, you want to talk to me now, right? You're here now and you want to talk to me. But the other day when I was trying to formulate this show, you went around circles about like what I was supposed to say, how I was going to say it, and whatever. And I told you that what I needed from you was links to your history with your wife, your wife who passed away, that I wanted links to the book. I wanted to know, I wanted to know a history. You didn't want to talk about your past. You said that's private, but I don't understand. If you told me on the phone that you've been in this UFO community for 27 years, and that you even told me, you even gave me the typical honeypot, you try to give, which is another clue that whom I'm talking to is baiting me for something. You even said, oh, you know what? I'm going to this convention and I'm told that I can bring anybody to help me, and you might be able to help me, and you might even be able to get paid doing it. And then you went on, and then you went on to almost imply, oh, well, maybe we'd be able to do a routine together, or you talked of us doing a comedy routine together about aliens or whatever. Now, guys, I would love to do live stand-up again. It would be really great to perform live. But I am choosing not to do something that people have to have a card for, which are required for people who go to clubs to have. All right. I'm choosing not to do it, meaning that I'm making a choice not to work that way. And, you know, but comedy and the ability to write and the ability to communicate and everything else doesn't necessarily have to take the form of a live stand-up routine. Okay. So Tom Morello, I told him that I performed at Tucson, Arizona last before. He went to comedy night. He showed me pictures of me going there. And he presented himself as somebody who wanted something. He lost his wife. He wanted to do something to make, to be a comedian, something to be passionate about. And I opened up to that, despite the fact that I was doused a honeypot. Also, Tom, I'm going to say it, all right? You even went so far as saying that you can get me a fake card that I would need to prove that I'd done something that would qualify me to work or go to school. All right. That, first of all, is not legal, right? And also, I would rather stand and be open about who I am and what my choices are, just like the choices that are in the show with the Squid Game. I wrote in my assertion or my analysis that all of the characters made a choice. That's why it's Faustian. They had a choice to engage into the game. They signed up, the guy put a thumbprint in blood in the beginning, signed a document, signed it again to play that game. And each character, whatever they made, their choices in the game depended on whether they were going to stay alive and win or not. And so when you are living life, I like to think that I'm allowed to make certain choices. And if I'm making those certain choices, I'm going to go ahead and suffer whatever happens with it. Just like everybody else that is not working right now or doing whatever or suffering the way they are, getting by, because I'm documenting what it's like to make a different choice that may not be what is popular for everybody else. Simply because I'm a human being and I have the right to do it. Now, if that makes me a crazy person, well, then that's your judgment and I'm just going to have to suffer with that. And that's why I would not compromise myself with the fact that this Tom Morello, this person who says that they're Tom Morello, was willing to offer me something like that is also a red flag and could potentially be a setup for me to fall. Because what if I got caught doing something like that? And then what would be the ramifications for me in a public forum to be discredited? We have what we choose to do in our lives have consequences, but my thought is at least be an adult enough to take the responsibility for your beliefs. All right, let's move on to the next point that I have about this. I looked up to see who Kathy Gallant Morello was. She seems like she was a very lovely woman. In her obituary, it says nothing about the UFO community or nothing about the paranormal. It does say that Tom Morello and his wife wrote a book together. It looks like she went underneath another name like Kathy Feather Eagle or another sort of indigenous name of which the book was written under, which I had difficulty finding. Its name is Mesa, and it does have the symbol of an extraterrestrial on it. Tom Morello told me that his wife channeled an entity called the Ambassador, which had wisdom that he was given, and that he had tons of tapes as evidence of this conversation. When I asked him if he wanted to do a show, the reason why I wanted to interview him was because if in fact he was who he says he was Tom Morello, and if in fact, he did have UFO experiences, so apparently her father had a UFO experience that was documented by Project Blue Book, which even that in itself, there are, people who can't really totally verify that Project Blue Book is even real. All right. I just want to specify these things, but I am willing to listen. And the fact that I thought he was part of the genesis of the UFO, community. When you think about George Norrie and Art Bell and Phil Schneider and, Jordan Maxwell and, David Icke and, a lot of the people that, even David Wilcock or, the people that, spoke on or were experts on ancient aliens. I mean, this is where we get into more of the mainstream exploration of UFO. When like I interviewed Chad Meek, and went to the Integratron and took footage and looked into like how it was built. If you look at the history of where a lot of the UFO, like at Giant Rock, there's a photo of, L. Ron Hubbard and everybody being out there, and, how this also involved Jack Parsons, and, you've got Alice Bailey, and the Theosophical, Society, or Thelema, and all these different things are sects of, or part of, the everything that encompasses, UFOs. And I did not mean, and I feel like maybe Tom Morello thinks that, I do not mean, I don't see myself as a person who is trying to humiliate and trash everybody who, practice any type of like Reiki healing or psychic healing or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I am curious about different healing modalities. And one of my entries into this particular media was the cannabis plant in relation to all the other healing modalities that were associated with it. That's why the Integratron was interesting to me, because it was developed as a human rejuvenation machine, and the blueprint was given by extraterrestrials. That was interesting to me. One of the reasons I wanted to initially interview Sarah was because she talked about the different types of healings, and she seemed to have knowledge on the topic. But it's easy for people to read books. It's easy for people to, look into Louise L. Hay. It's easy. I mean, look, I've been reading New Age books since the 90s. All right. I do not come here naive, and I'm not naive to any of the of the lingo that has been used in this community. What's happening? So the comedians beginning out, they get the Tonight Show or Kimmel's right away, and it takes time to move up. You know what? It takes a lot of time to move up in the comedy business. All right. I mean, I didn't get any national recognition for what I had been doing until I don't know. I'd already been in the business for like 15 years professionally before I got on television. No, there's nobody that just walks out. I don't know of anybody who went to open mic night and 6 months later they were on any show. There's a real art form to learning how to do stand-up. Tom, I don't know. You know what? You see, so put me on now. See, Tom, here's the deal. You didn't want to talk about this stuff. You gave me the runarounds, and Tom, here's my problem with you, and I think the audience should know this about you, is that the phone number that you were calling me from, right, saying that you were Tom Morello, wanting to pick me up, right, wanting to give me cards that you shouldn't have been offering or whatever, right? Your phone number doesn't belong to a Tom Morello. I don't know if you guys are familiar with benverified.com, but it's a site that's used with the show Catfish, trying to find out when people are like who they are in social media. Your number belongs to a Louis Castro. Your cell phone number does not belong to a Tom Morello. I can prove it. I'm not going to show it because that's personal PID, but trust me, I have it in a file. I have it saved. And your phone number has never belonged to a Tom O. Morello. And not only that, but the Facebook page that is associated with the real Tom Morello is not yours. Okay? It's not. It is another Tom Morello that's using the same graphic you have right there. But the website that you're communicating with me is not the same. So, because of the fact that you know, how long did I talk to you before you were willing to show my face? Let me tell you something, Tom Morello. When you wanted to do this show, you did not want a camera on your face. Why is that? Because you want to protect your identity? No, I'm having this conversation. Look, you're still a profile right now, right? That's good. Save it. No, not me. So put me on and dial my phone. Yeah, so I can dial your phone and you could talk to me through your phone and I still don't have verification of your identity or your face. You want to come on? You get your computer. I give you the link. You put your camera on your face and you show us who you are. You willing to do that, Tom? All right. I'm going to send you. All right. I'm going to send you the link and let's get you on. I'm just going to my messenger. All right, there it is. I've sent Tom the link. And we'll see if he shows up and puts his camera on. Is ready for bloated Tom Morello. Are you? No, I sent it to you through Facebook on your profile. Check your IM on Facebook. That's where I'm not sure what your email is. And all you have to do is get onto your computer and click onto it. It will, it'll let you know, it'll say, you know, should I, you know, like put my, it goes, can give permission to use your camera, give permission to use your microphone. And so, I want to know why your phone number has somebody else's name on it. I want to know why that happened. And why do you have two Facebook pages? For a person who's not technically savvy, why do you have two Facebook pages? And now the only GoFundMe that I could find surrounding like his wife and everything. There's a GoFundMe out there to help create a scholarship fund for people who are majoring in anthropology because she was behind education, and it said, here's a GoFundMe to raise money for the scholarship. But it's weird because I don't know how scholarships are presented or how the funds are gathered or trusts or however that works. Because, I mean, being a student right now, I just applied for scholarships. So there's all these different scholarships, but I think you have to go through the educational system. I've never heard of anybody setting up a GoFundMe for something like that. But excuse me, I'm burping. You can see that on the Tom Morello page that uses the same picture as here. That's been around for a long time. Hi, Veronica. All right. I've sent Tom Morello an invite to the show. Now that Jessica says is ready for bloated Tom Morello. So that Jessica, have you seen him before? Like, he's bloated. He's bloated. I mean, because I asked him to. Oh, there he is. Okay, there he is. Bloated.
Yeah.
Hi. I asked him to. Now, I need you to turn the show off on your end. Hi.
Hello.
Now, I need you to turn the show off on your end.
Turn the what off?
Hi. Turn. I'm getting the feedback of the show. You need to stop watching the show on YouTube.
Okay, let me turn the what off?
Hi. Turn. I'm getting the feedback of the show. You need to stop watching the show on YouTube.
All right, let me stop it.
Turn the what off? Turn. Okay.
Told you I'm not computer savvy, as I told you earlier.
Okay.
First, I am Tom Morello. Here is the book.
Okay.
I wanted to show you, and it does exist. There's my wife.
Okay.
Just to show you, I'm not BSing on that.
All right.
Yes.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. I see your face too.
Thank you. I'm bloated.
All right.
And the only reason why I wanted to
Who isn't bloated? Who isn't bloated?
The only reason why I wanted to meet up with you was to prove to you I wasn't BSing you. That's
okay,
let's
good.
meet up, go to Vegas or go somewhere. I'll meet up, have lunch. Prove you can say,
you'll still have lunch with me.
Huh?
You'll still have lunch with me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk to you about like, just can you, I mean, you're here now, you've shown the book.
Yes.
Okay. So, and now just highlight me how her father was an experiencer with Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
Your experiences.
If your audience want to look it up, November 15th, 1954, her dad, living in Maine, was walking for a lunch break, went down the Kennebec River in Maine. And if they look up Project Blue Book, Unknowns, he saw 10 gold objects flying in a V formation around 1:30 p.m., daylight area, phenomena, going down the river. The service came out, Air Force, police, questioned their mom and dad separately. One was questioned in the basement. One was questioned upstairs. And they told him, you never saw it. We'll make a report. Just ignore it. And so later on, so many years later, Kathy and I found his copy of his report and presented it to him. For years, his friends in the 50s and 60s thought he was just BSing, saying little green man, it's little gray aliens. There's no such thing. You were high, drinking, and, people didn't believe it up until a few months ago when the government presented some radars and some stuff from the Air Force. But
yeah,
my wife and I have been, she's passed, as you know. Her and I were doing this for 27 years. It came upon us when we did a channeling session. We just did what's called past regression, if we had past lives together. And all of a sudden, this voice came out and started talking.
Uh-huh.
And that's...
And then that is an entity that called himself the ambassador.
Right.
Okay. So you're doing past life regressions. The entity called the ambassador starts speaking. And so did the ambassador say that he was alien or extraterrestrial? I guess that's not the right term anymore.
Well, remember I told you before on the phone, he's like a hybrid. He said he was like part Floridian, he was part Orion and Arcturian. And he mentioned stuff about my childhood. And Kathy and I were just dating at the time. We weren't, like seriously going out. He mentioned about the sightings I had when I was younger. Big sighting I had in '86, and just mentioned stuff about my brother and I growing up. And the hypnotherapist was talking to me. He said, "Did you tell Kathy this?" I'm like, "I didn't say a word about it." I said, "We've just been going out for 3 months. She doesn't know anything about that." So then how she would know about these years? I said, "I don't know." And that's when we started questioning him.
What were some of the things that he mentioned? And are you willing to share your UFO experience when you were a child?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one of them, well, recently, the last recent one was back in Michigan. Michigan is a big hotbed for UFOs, just like California, Arizona, and Colorado.
Why is that, do you think?
You know what? A lot of Native American, they're seen around Native American land. They're seen around a lot of Native land. A lot of dense area. Michigan has a lot of farmland, and now it's been growing up, but it's space. A lot of space they like. I don't know for what reason. But the one I saw in '86, I was going down the river off 96, near the lakes over there, I-96. And I was traveling from Dearborn, Michigan to Grand Rapids. I don't know if you've ever been to Michigan or not.
I have, a little bit.
It's like a mitten. So you have, right here is Dearborn. Going through would be Grand Rapids on the other side. It's about 3.5, 4 hours drive. So driving over there in '86, July, my friend and I, her and I were just driving to pick up some stuff from a friend, bringing it back to Dearborn. Pulled over, and this is before cell phones and people, snapped the picture. You got to call on a regular telephone. We seen like a line across the forest. It was all trees and woods. Back in the day, 4 lanes of highway on both sides. There's nothing. Just dense darkness, trees, and lights. We left about 1 a.m, was traveling down I-96, and above the tree lines, we seen like what looked like it could have been a fire. So I said, when we get to the next exit, pull over, I'll get on the telephone, report a forest fire. So as we traveled through, we went and seen an opening in the tree path and just pulled over, and almost like thinking nothing of it. Never even heard of Travis Walton at the time. I just jumped out of the car. I said, let's get out of the car. Look at what this is. Got out of the car, went off the median, and then we could see there was this thing above us. It was like about a telephone pole above our heads. It was about 15 to 20 feet black in diameter. It was colored, and it had revolving lights turning counterclockwise. They were like red, yellow, orange, green, blue, and was making a high-pitched humming noise. Now, we stood underneath there about 1:15 in the morning till 1:30, 1:40. And we got back in the car, started driving up. I slammed the brakes, and I yelled at her and said, what the hell did we see? She said, well, we seen that lights. Remember, there was lights turning in the sky. I said, no, that was a UFO. She says, no, it couldn't be. We just saw the lights. So I backed the car up. Nothing. It was gone. Look at the clock. It was 4:30 in the morning. So some missing time there. But later on in the 90s, if you check on Michigan UFO sightings in the 90s, 93, 94, around the same area, Holland, Michigan, around Grand Rapids, there were sightings. The weather reports and policemen saw UFOs with counterclockwise lights turning counterclockwise, flying around that area. Anybody has freedom to look it up, freedom of mutual, as far as mutual research, MUFON. Look it up, Michigan MUFON, and look in the 90s, and look up some of the lights that were spotted. That was the big one I had. And as a kid, I've seen lights fly out in the sky. I've had some ghost experience. I mean, I've had a lot of experience since I've grown up. And I never, discussed it with Kathy until later on when we met, started dating. She told me about her dad. She told me about her experiences and what she did.
Now, I want to. There are some people that there's some people that have made comments. One of them is I want to show this on the screen for a moment because like a lot of people believe that they said that's a demon they summoned.
Right.
Do you and a lot of people think that, or will say that aliens or people that are speaking through that they're actually the entity may tell you something that it knows stuff. It may tell you what it wants you to believe. Wow. And or they've equated the gray alien with Aleister Crowley's the entity that he summoned called Lamb. So what are your thoughts when somebody?
I get this a lot. A lot of people want to say about the devil, it's bad entities, all. I hear it all the time. I mean, they even say about psychics, if you have a gift, people have a gift, ESP. Some people can dream, they get thoughts and dreams. Holding an object, Kathy was an empath. She can hold an object in her hand and tell you stuff about yourself, what you're going to do, what's happening. She was full empath, horoscope, numerology, and channeling. I mean, some people have gifts, some don't. But the ones who don't have the gifts, sometimes they're scared. And their religious background feel guilty to believe in something like that. I don't take part in the demon stuff. The reason why, we've known this guy for, I say guy, but really doesn't identify with any, sex, or 27 years. A couple of times we had our lungs damaged from the swine flu, as I was telling you. At night, I have to wear my oxygen. I'm actually, knock on wood, having a good night right now. I have to wear oxygen at night. But my lungs were damaged 12 years ago during the swine flu, and so does Kathy's. And that's why I'll admit I took the shot. And you have to, but we discussed that already. So, but
right. Okay. And that's the thing. Like I say, like, we have a right to make a choice. I don't want to criticize you for making your choice.
But you know
what I mean? It's like you made your choice. I'm still making my choice right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
But I'm not about to be afraid of someone who didn't get the shot, nor am I afraid who got the shot. I'm like, I don't care. I look at it this way. You're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. And I think this stuff was around longer than 2020. I think it was around 2019 even. Because right before Christmas in Flagstaff, Kathy got sick. I mean, really bad, where they were using gloves. They're using masks going into the room. And I was using gloves to see her. And this was around Christmas, first week before Christmas Eve. And I stayed with her for, all through the hospital, spending nights and go back there. But she had some kind of virus. They didn't know what it was, if she was going to survive. And that was 2019. So I think it's been.
But this was 2019.
Yes, this was December.
What year was this again that you said? 2019. December. I want to add something to that too as well. Is my stepfather got really sick and pneumonia in 2017. And they said that the hospitals were full and that my stepdad had to be out in the hallway until he got a room. They didn't have a room for him. And I was thinking, what's going on that the hospitals are as full as they are? And then it was that February when the pandemic happened and COVID. And February, March is when it spiked or started spiking to where we went into our quarantine. And I've asked my mom, I go, do you think that my stepdad? I don't really want to give his name away. Do you think he got it? Like that's what it was? And she's like, I'm not. I wouldn't put it. I wondered that myself.
I wouldn't put it past
because or was that going on at that time?
But yeah, she got really sick, and They
Yeah.
asked me, can you spend the night, maybe in the afternoon, and then take care of her in the morning because we're overbooked with patients and we can't always get to her. I said, I don't mind. So I put my cap and gown on, and I was already exposed to her. So in the room, we had the room to ourselves, like a wing, kind of a double room. I just took care of her, walked her to the bathroom when she needed to go, got food for her, and just pretty much kept to ourselves. I mean, it's a hell of a Christmas, but yeah.
Cellar Door says that's why they called it, 2019. I got a compliment on my hair. Thank you for liking my hair. This is also like one of the pieces that I added to my real ponytails, but I don't know. I kind of like doing different things just for the fun of it. I don't like to have the same hairdo all the time when I do shows. How about your hair? Yeah, your hair looks great.
I gotta get.
I'm glad that you came on to.
And
that we can and then we can click things up. Now,
bad, evil person. I'm not a bad, evil person. I'm not out to kill anyone. I'm not out to hurt anyone. I want to share my book and show you I did exist. And that is my name. And I know Tom Morello's out there playing a guitar. I hope he sponsors me or something, but that is my book.
Well, I mean, like, I know now I'm seeing your face and you've shown me the pictures. So I go, okay, that's the pictures that the face is. Now, Rudy Roo has a question.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on with the phone. But if you call me now, I won't show your number. I'll answer it and show you that's my number. I mean, as far as for the face on Facebook, but I figure
you should call your provider. You should call your provider and ask them why they're listing your number under the name of Mr. Castro.
I don't know who that guy is, but call me now just to prove to your audience it's the phone. You got my number. Call it right now. And, no, let's prove I'm not lying because I don't want people out there thinking I'm a liar.
All right. Okay. Okay, wait. I got to go in here and
I got it turned around so your phone won't appear.
Okay, I have to go and I have to unblock you first.
Thank you.
All right. So let me just give me a second. All right, unblock this caller, and then here we go.
Be pissed off at me because, I have your number, you have my number, but oh well, that's the way it goes. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so that's my number.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Okay.
So did I prove I'm not a liar?
Yes, it proves.
And sometimes
it proves that you're not. Huh?
I am Tom Morello. So.
Yeah, it proves you are your identity.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll show you what I searched, so you can see like the discrepancies between who that number belongs to and then your other profile, because the real you that's on Been Verified has different phone numbers and different addresses than the one that's listed to that number that's registered under. Do you know a Luis Castro? Is he your neighbor? Is there a Luis Castro that is
you kept saying you're Castro. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm Tom Morello. But I do.
Okay. All right.
I am serious about that. We talked about that. So, but sometime if you're want to interview in person,
well, you should try it.
All right. I just want to prove myself. I am real.
Okay.
Sorry about this. I'm still trying to get off the steroids. But as far as the other stuff,
it's okay.
I think if you go further down,
you don't look that
my lungs, you wouldn't believe how bad they are.
Wait, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. But yeah, my lungs are really bad.
Okay.
Okay, what I'll do is, can I switch back into
Rudy Roo has a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What other room? What does he say to people that might say they were speaking to spiritual beings and not extraterrestrials? That's kind of the same.
Hello.
Like as if maybe they're not extraterrestrial, but
in some ways, but he was also part of making this earth. He was part of the original seeders of making the people on the earth.
Okay. You're breaking up a little bit there, but we got it. I don't know if we're going to lose his image. Yeah, the internet is being a little wonky with you on your end, because it's probably okay. So Cellar Door says, I'm glad he came on. I was beginning to think he was not Tom. We lost him for a moment. You know what? You can re-click in here, Tom, if you want to come back. Is there anything else that he would like to clear up? That's a good question. All right. If you don't tell people, they wouldn't know, Terry. Super cute. Oh, you're talking about my hair. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. I was like, if I don't tell people, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know about this. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it's kind of obvious that my hair goes longer and shorter, like in between, like just a matter of days. So that's why I kind of, wonder about it. All right. It's too bad we lost him because I had more questions that I wanted to ask him about his experiences. So, okay. So Tom Morello is who he says he is. All right. So that makes me relieved. I don't think he was associated in doing anything nefarious with Miss Adams. And so that clears that up, right? I mean, that kind of solves that question on it. And it's kind of it's exciting to talk to him. Okay, Rudy Roo said something. Is there anything? Okay, and is there anything else he would like to clear up? I think I'm assuming that he probably cleared up everything for us in terms of like verifying his identity. Oh, wait, there's a text that came in. I could maybe, hey, I lost you. I lost you. Is the show done? No. Let me see if I can call him. We can hear, maybe we can hear him this way. Now that we know it's him. I'll call him. That works, right?
Hello.
Hey, I'm hoping that everybody can hear you here.
Excuse me.
I'm actually, I have you on speaker, so
okay.
I know that you lost connection. Sometimes
it just kind of faded out. So
okay, we can do a future show. I would like to do a future show. I mean, I would be totally up for that. But since I have you like right here, Rudy Roo had a question for you. He said, "Is there anything else that you would like to clear up?"
Clear up? Well, that I am real. That is my name. Kathy was my wife. She did pass away. I was married to her 29 years. We're together for 29 years. I would like to, kind of make the UFO field. I mean, there is a lot of serious people about the UFO field and stuff, but I kind of want to bring in comedy in it too, as what you and I talked about.
Right.
I was serious about that because some of this stuff, I've heard stories in some of these conventions you can't make up. And I know you called it a honeypot, but if you never do anything in your life, go to a UFO show. And the next one's going to be in March 2022. I mean, go to a show. There's a lot of speakers, a lot of stuff. I mean, see for yourself. I mean, it's not like Star Trek. So you're expecting to wear like a Klingon outfit, or, not you, but, people in general, Klingon, or dress up like your favorite Klingon or starship, or, there's professionals, there's doctors, teachers, professors. I mean, it's a serious biz, but there's some that are kind of different, but the convention gives everyone a chance to express what their story is and where they came from and what happened to them. I mean, people out there can't believe that they're all farmers from, Iowa, and an alien came down and kidnapped me. There's millions of people that have missing time, see ghosts, see UFOs, talk to someone. They can't all be crazy. I mean, that's basically what the convention's about. Seeing different people and meeting new people, and see for yourself what your thoughts are.
Okay, so Tom, I just want to interject here for a moment. Rogue Status just joined us. He says, "What's up, everybody? Good evening, Ms. Joyce. Seemed like I just walked into something." Yes. Right now, we lost connection with him in video, but if you go back and rewind later, Tom Morello wrote a book with his recently wife who passed away, Kathy Gallant Morello.
Yes.
Now, what was her other name? It was Kathy.
The pseudo name she used on the book was Kathy Star Eagle.
Kathy Star Eagle.
Yes.
Eagle. They wrote a book called Mesa together. What year did you publish the book?
That book came out in 2010, and our first week at the convention, we brought in about 100 books. Let's see, we sold all 100 of them right off the table. I mean, it was great. But then the following year, both her and I got the swine flu.
Uh-huh.
That's when the epidemic started, and we both kind of knocked us out where we're very sick and really couldn't do anything. We lost our jobs. We couldn't work full time anymore and couldn't breathe. Her lungs were shot. Mine got shot. And then later on, we just been on oxygen and trying to survive and stuff.
Okay,
but
so
I know.
just as a recap for everybody, Tom Morello is a UFO experiencer. His wife's father was a UFO experiencer that was reported with Project Blue Book, and then she channeled the entity, the ambassador, whom you said before we hung up, before we lost you, that he says that he was part of the DNA or the creation of some of the humans on the planet.
Right. And then all of a sudden, that was weird how that cut out. I didn't do it. I haven't seen it cut out. I mean, that was weird. But no, he described himself as the original seeders of the planet. It's like, there's always a connection. I mean, if you look at some of these ancient alien shows, they said about the Mayan, the Aztec, the Naztec lines, about who were their space gods. And look at Native American culture, they always talk about the entities from the sky
yes.
watchers. Who are the sky watchers? And who are the ones who are seeding this planet? I mean, again, it boils down to one people's opinion. Could be aliens, could be an entity, but what is God? God could be the ultimate alien of them all. He makes them all.
Well, that's a big argument. There are people that are questioning. Were there entities that took part in the creation of beings or human beings, and did those entities actually pretend to be God because they were more, it seemed to be more superior, or flying in ships or whatever? Maybe they confused them with God, when in fact they never really were.
But remember what we discussed? I sent you copies of those pictures, of the old pictures with UFOs in them.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, did you ever look at that?
I did, and I've seen pictures like that before. I mean, there's
how would you come up with a UFO in a picture 1400, 1500, when so-called chariots never flew back then.
Right.
So what are they coming up with? What symbol or what is that?
Well,
so,
I think a lot of people now, are willing to identify and admit, or our military's admitting now. I mean, even President Obama, our former President Obama, came out and verified, that the fact that UFOs do really exist.
Oh, yeah.
We have Demi Lovato, now she has a series where, she is, okay. And then there's other videos that are online that are countering that, saying that these still may not be like what we think are aliens may not really be aliens, but they're interdimensional beings. Like there's that argument
like
too.
Travelers, almost like time travelers.
Well, no, I mean, again, you get into the to the Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons thing, where they. Because even on Ancient Aliens, there is a part where they discuss the fact that, and I think it might have been L. Ron Hubbard and with Jack Parsons, they were doing an Aleister Crowley ritual in Pasadena that created a rift that was similar to the same longitude over, like it was like directly the same thing as Area 51, and that's when it happened. That there was like some sort of opening that happened through a ritual. Now, even that, like for a lot of people, is difficult for someone to grasp or realize. But the fact of the matter is that Jack Parsons was really an occultist. Okay, and he was practicing Thelema, and he was a follower of Aleister Crowley, and he was actually a priest, I think, or okay. So, there is this other element to what people think might be extraterrestrial. Our film and television has given us a prototype of what we're to expect that an extraterrestrial looks like. Alien movies are, very common. So the population has been, I would say maybe we've had public relations through film and television and media and former presidents to get prepared for the possibility that we are going to have some type of UFO disclosure.
And bring them in. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And people are not as scared as people make them out to be. People are there always saying, well, we can't bring one out because it'll create a panic. I think people know there's stuff going on out there. They're just waiting.
Cellar Door 33 says that JPL and CERN are bad news. It's okay though. ABBA wins, and I know that is my heart. ABBA. I like ABBA too. All right. Rudy Roo is asking, do you want to talk about your interview with SRA?
All I talked about is like how I'm talking with you guys right now. I got the swine flu. I, became ill. And if, someone wants to donate or help out with stuff, towards a college fund for Kathy, that's the main thing I wanted to do because, she was a gifted person, nice person. She'd give anybody their shirt off their back. If she needed a reading and needed to know about people, boyfriend, girlfriend, she'd give you a reading for free. That's, we talked about. So I like to do something just to remember her name. But that's pretty much how I did the interview with her. And then, again, with the other stuff, it was promised to me. And then all of a sudden now, whoop.
So
nope.
When you did the interview with her, now was the interview going up to promote a GoFundMe that she said that she could put money into? Did I get that correct? Yeah. And
but now the story changed. But that I have to give it the site you've seen. That's the GoFundMe for Kathy.
That's right.
Well, do one on your own. I'm like, it was pretty much. I live here, and that would be Kathy's for the college for the next 20 years. I like to look into funding for Arizona State, U of A, NAU, the colleges here in the state, and also one in Maine. I like to do that for Kathy in her name. I said, well, couldn't they put it through there? I guess so. I'm like, well, it's still GoFundMe. It's just, it's PayPal. And they can go through them. Okay.
Okay, so but that's where I'm confused at. Was that GoFundMe going to be the same GoFundMe that's listed already, or were you directing people to your private PayPal account where they could give you donations to help you out?
No, I was directing for Kathy's thing. I wanted to get her college thing going.
Okay.
But Sarah said, if you want to, send Tom some money or help him out, just go. He does have a PayPal under his name, Tom Morello. And it is just Tom Morello. I don't have a middle name. I just have Thomas Morello, Tom Morello.
Oh, that's weird because on Ben Verified, there's an O that they put in there. And they have your other Facebook page where you have this little I guess is that the one that you're using on your YouTube, the thumbnail that you're using for your profile, is that a South Park character?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I look like the South Park character.
Yeah, you kind of do look like that South Park character, actually.
That's why I put that on there.
Yeah.
My kids were laughing. They said, oh, how stupid. I'm like, well, no, I got a picture up there. Look, that's dumb. I'm like, dude, until I lose a little more, bloat, fine. Once I get out from under, all the pandemic and steroids and sickness, then yes, I'll put one up. But until then,
right.
What's wrong with him? So,
yeah.
So you can rest assured I'm not a psycho.
Okay, all right.
I'm a sick man, and I am serious what we talked about in the past about comedy and UFO field and to do stuff on that. I'd be willing to try that. And, if sometime you want to go up to Vegas, meet up for lunch, and, meet in person. You see me now, so I do exist.
Right. Okay, so, one thing that did really resonate with me when we spoke was when you said that, especially like doing comedy that would be UFO related, you said that a lot of people that have stories of, UFO experiences, you want them to feel that they don't feel, that that somebody hears them, or that that you're not alone, like you're not crazy.
But let's face it. If I tell someone, if you would ask me 30 years ago, you're going to meet a woman, you're both are going to talk to an alien for 27 years, and you'll be copying these down, collecting them. He's going to tell you stuff from how the lady died, the assassination attempt on Clinton's life, OJ, and different stuff like that. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll remember that. I would say you're crazy, you're nuts. And no, that's 86. I got the big sighting. 88, I moved, to Tucson. 91, I met my wife. And 93 is when we had that contact after doing a, past regression. So, I would have told you, there's no way.
And you recorded these,
yeah.
Right? So you still have the recordings?
Oh yeah. 27 years.
And
that's what I was trying to say. I mean, I'm not BSing about this. This is real.
And when you, okay, so you have the recordings. Are you selling the book now? I mean,
Yeah, I am. If people are interested in a book, just as long if they're in the United States, I can get a copy of the book. The book is $18. I don't know what it costs to send, like $4 or $5 in the States, I think. I don't know. I would have to find out. I'll give you, my book. You've seen it, and I think you have my email address.
Well, you sent me. I think you did send me a link of where of the website that the person can contact you.
Right.
Okay.
I'll give you some other updated information, and you give people my address and my email address. I don't know, but Let me figure out another address to send.
Well, give me something so I will put it in the description later on of this video. So if anybody does want to find your book, they can. When I read in the description, it sounds like you did a fiction book about characters that talk about their experiences or their life and the story. But are those fictional stories based on your?
Actually, it's based on Kathy and I's lives, but we made it fiction.
Well, that's done. Common. That's common. But it's really based on you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
And I got papers to prove what happened this day. I have pictures. We even met the Heaven's Gate people. I think I told you in 95, we met the Heaven's Gate people. And in 97, they all off themselves around the same time. Hale Bopp, if you remember, in March of 97, Hale Bopp, that comet that was passing over, we lost Lady Di. We had the Phoenix lights in over Arizona, Phoenix, and the Heaven's Gate people, 39 of them died. Suicide in California. All that happened in the span of 1997.
And didn't you tell me that, was it Kathy that said that, or that something's off here and this is a cult, or who was it that figured it out that there was something off about them, Heaven's Gate people?
Oh yeah. Well, Kathy picked up on that. Another person, we looked and Kathy said, what do you think of them? She said, they're going to kill themselves. She said, I want to get out of here. And we walked out of the camera, we walked out of their talk, and every person died at that table except the one guy who quit them before they all committed suicide. And then when that happened, friends of ours from Tucson called us up. We were in northern Arizona. He said, you guys, put it on the news. Those people that you said had those weird haircuts and they were kind of strange, yeah, they're all dead. What? And they were called the Overcomers at the time. And they follow Applewhite. I think his name was Applewhite, the older guy. Yeah. And that's when they all committed suicide.
So you've seen a lot of history with this or the growth of this community. Who do you think is really legitimate that you've come in contact with, or that you know of? That we would know of? Who do you think is actually really got it right?
Some of Johnny Enoch stuff is good. I like Johnny Enoch stuff. He does a lot of research stuff. But I think some of the Native American people, if you talk to them, they have a lot on there, because the problem is, being in comedy, you know yourself, comedians, just like UFO researchers, there's a competition. And it's like, well, what do you got going? I have this. Oh, okay, I might use that. Oh, I have this. Well, my stuff is better. No, I think mine's a little better. And with researchers, sometimes it can be competitive. I mean, we're all in the same game. Either we're in the same game to make people laugh, go to crowds, make some money, or the same games that give the research to people about UFOs, alien research. Are they real? Are they not? Research it yourself, find out what you think. But there's a lot of competition I've seen among a lot of them. It's sad but true, because it's almost like UFO high school, what we talked about before, about people saying the Arcturians are real, the Ashtar Command, the Greys are bad, the Whites are bad, the Blues, there's all different colors, and well, it's a weird world. When you get in this world, if you have a conversation, you're drinking iced tea and coffee at a restaurant, and people are listening to the conversation, they're like, what the hell are they talking about?
Okay, I have a question for you, and this is what I'm wondering. Okay. I went back and I watched an old video that there was a panel of, and Jordan Maxwell was one of the people that was on the panel. And they went back and they talked about, the Illuminati and what their goals were, right? And one of the goals is to create a one world religion. All right. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Like right now, we've got the Pope. I think the Pope is doing some sanctioning of where, he's saying here's Jewish, here's Muslim, here's Christian. We're all going to, unify into something else. And a lot of people feel that something else will be based on like Alice Bailey, like a Luciferian religion that is very much New Age, that also will encompass, a UFO disclosure. Do you think that some of this community and some of those things may possibly be an agenda for the New World Order?
I asked the ambassador a couple of times about New World Order and the Illuminati and stuff, but he made a statement like, he said, if you check your money, your money has always had pyramids behind it, the all-seeing eye, the owl on the dollar bill in the corner. All these little symbols have always been on the money for a long time. So it's not like it's never changed. He said that goes back to the Masons. That goes back to Masons, Templar Knights. But he said as far as one world order, he said you got billions of people on this planet, millions and billions of Muslims, Christians, Catholics, different reasons. It's going to be hard to convince them all. We all follow one religion and that's it. I think a lot of your wars and everything is fighting based on religion. You can't have this because I'm Muslim, or you're Christian. Well, no, I'm taking it from you. But as far as for one new order to keep it just one religion, I wish I could tell you the honest answer on that one. But I don't think it's going to, I try to be an optimist. I'm trying to hope that people eventually will get along, but what will it take for everyone to get along? But I don't know.
Are humans, are humans flawed that they will not, be able to come together in love? Which really, if you look at all the different religions, isn't the basis underneath all of it is to love and do unto others as you would have them do unto you?
Not to you, exactly.
Right? But how come nobody does it? Why can't we achieve that?
Because a lot of people, I think media doesn't help for one thing. The Kardashians and all this materialistic people. You got a lot of materialistic people. Our country, it has flaws, it has things going on, but you know what? I would choose never to be anywhere else except here. But you go to other third world countries and other countries, they're like starving. They don't know when their next meal is going to come and living in different ways, but they got hierarchies, poor and rich. Poor and rich. Even as much as people complain about wealth and middle class, no class, poor class, is still not as bad as it could be in another country. There is still options out there and there's help for people. It's just got to take care of this country first and just stop the fighting. But look how people disagree on just wearing a mask. I know everyone's rights. It is true. You have the right to take a shot. You have a right not to take the shot. That should be your right.
Well, but really, okay, we probably shouldn't talk about this so much. Yes. But I get what you're saying, and
because people they base people on materialistic or how a person looks. I feel bloated, and it's like I do. I'm a sick person. I've been on steroids. I've on oxygen, not by my choice. I never done any drugs, no smoking. It's just by a virus. By a virus that can knock me out and boom, change my life forever. Change my wife's life forever. But then people judge you because if they see someone walk in, a little blood, oh, you must eat a lot, or you're drinking a lot of beer. No, I'm just sick. I'm medical condition. Oh, okay. And it's bad, but I think if people stop judging, maybe it might help.
Right.
But,
and it took a lot of courage. I mean, I realize now that that you felt self-conscious. So I want to applaud you for taking the courage to showing how you look. I don't think you look that bad, or that you're not, so, I appreciate the fact that you were willing to, despite how you were feeling, you were willing to divulge you had the courage to show your face and show your face to everybody. I am Tom Morello. I'm Tom Morello.
I always planned on doing it. I just want you to know that I did exist.
Yeah, I'm glad. I feel really, it's like, wow, the Easter Bunny's real. No, I'm kidding. I'm being dramatic. I'm being dramatic. I feel like Charlie Brown, okay. All right.
Hey, Terry, thank you for letting me be on the show, and thank you for proving I am myself. And yes, if you ever want to get together for a Vegas trip or go for lunch, you said it on here, I'll be glad to go.
Okay, and you're more than welcome, at some point, to come back. If there are more things that you want to share about your past, I know that there would be people who are interested, and I know that I have a skeptical subscribers, that do question things, but at the same time, I believe that a lot of the people that are connected, and we are connected, is because we've been part of the UFO community, and it's not like we don't think that they don't exist or that there's not something there, but everybody's trying to find out what the real truth is. And we feel that there are a lot of people that are not only not being honest about who they are and what they know and their knowledge, but they're also connected to QAnon. And you know what that is that I'm talking about. That the genesis of that and that political slant that's done damage in the United States is responsible for this community. So we kind of try to I don't know, I guess watch each other and keep each other online, and that when we are offering our psychic services and when we are offering our intuitive and our healing skills, that the people that are doing it aren't just doing it because they're greedy and they're being like snake oil salesmen, because they are peppered within all of this as well. And so, I think that I consider myself, I didn't call my show Truth Seeker, but I consider myself to be a truth seeker. I don't have it right. I could be wrong in my opinions and stuff like that. And so, and I admit that fully, but in the end, I'm really just a person that's trying to figure out what's going on.
Exactly, just like everyone else.
Right.
I like to tell people if they believe me or not. I've been going around this for over 25 years. I tell people the same answer. Whoever believes, there's no explanation necessary. Whoever doesn't believe, there's no explanation necessary. You can believe it. If not, that's okay. It's no use arguing about it, because it's never good just to argue about whether you believe I'm telling you the truth or not. If you want to listen to it, great.
Right.
We freak people out, like I mentioned, talking to people in person. People get freaked out. They don't want to believe that there might be an alien out there. There might be someone who listens and can contact people.
Well, one time I mentioned to my mom, I think back in 2009, I said, the Pope just stated that there might be extraterrestrial life.
Yes,
and my mom, remember that? And my mom goes, "Oh, is the Pope watching too much V?" And I go, "Mom, don't you think it's interesting that he's confirming that there might be extraterrestrials when it's a sin not to wear to wear a condom?" You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's where is the line in here? Why is okay, one last question before we go, because it's almost, we're getting towards midnight here, and I'm trying not to do 2-3 hour shows. But do you believe in that there are reptilian hybrid people, and that that the reptilian race is a threat to the to humans and our and
Okay, personally, I never seen a reptilian. However, there's been talk that there is a group of beings, and we even got this from one of our conversation with our guide, that a lot of them, there is existence of them, or skinwalkers around the New Mexico area. And a lot of this comes out of the Dulce area. Dulce, I don't know if you're familiar with Dulce, was the underground base that claims that where AIDS virus was released. It was, genetically formed in the Dulce labs in Dulce, New Mexico. A lot of times they said the lizard type or reptilian type do come from there. I mean, you have that kind. Of course, you have the whites. You have the praying mantis type. Very small. There's those
ones. Like I think I can handle the reptilians over the praying mantis ones. The mantis ones really kind of trip me out. For me, you know what I mean? It's like I'm kind of used to seeing the dinosaurs and everything, and
like dinosaurs. It's just the people are like 8 feet above you. It's like I'll wait on this one. I'm not gonna say this one. But yeah, I believe they do exist. I believe they could have an influence on government, or could have something to do with what goes on in this world. However, again, some people claim they can see it in people's eyes, like the people shift a certain way.
Right.
I mean, there's.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me that there's probably a lot of us that got smoked and has been watching all the different shape-shifting videos, right? Like, right? Like it's like you're up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, going, "Oh, that's so freaky." You know what I mean?
I can tell you a shape-shifting story if you got a second.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. Yeah.
Okay, I was visiting a friend of mine. He's Native American. He lived off Zuni, New Mexico. I drove over there. And he had to drive to Albuquerque. So he said, make yourself at home, make breakfast, get me some lunch. I come back and, hey, we'll go out, either go out, to dinner, or we'll figure something out when I get back. It's going to be at 7 hours. All right. So I'm hanging out on the couch, have the TV on. It's early morning, like around 7 in the morning. Now he had 2 houses and this big old acreage. I mean, he had like about 10, 20 acreage. There's nothing around. All of a sudden, I'm hearing walking outside his window. And I'm looking like, oh, okay, what's up there? I move the curtain, and these 3 dogs are walking. Okay, and one's walking in front, looks like kind of a collie mix, a German Shepherd, and like a Doberman. So there's 2 behind, 1 up front. And they're just like walking, like almost like soldiers, walking just ahead. And I tap on the window, I go, hey, puppy. Hey, puppy, and I'm tapping on the window, looking at him. Freaked me out, because all 3 of them looked to the left and just stared at me. I'm like, okay. I said, hey, puppy. And there's just like deadpan stare at you. And then, like robots, all 3 moved their heads and started walking forward and kept walking. I'm like, oh, bullshit, I got to see this. So I run, open the front door. There's nothing there, Terry. Gone. Completely gone. I'm yelling, puppy. Nothing. There was nothing around. I slammed the door, buckled the locks. He came back from...
Okay, let me ask you, though. Were these shape-shifting dogs?
I think they could have been. Because he even said it. He said, he even came home. He said, anything interesting happened? I'm like, yes. I think I might have seen some shapeshifters. He said, were they dogs? I'm like, yeah. He said, yeah, they come around with like 4 of them. I said, no, there was only 3. Why? So I've seen them before. He said, they just go by. They want to see who's over, if they see a strange car. And he said, you didn't go outside, did you? I said, I kind of peeked out. He said, what'd you do? I said, well, I slammed the door and locked it. He said, well, let me give you some advice. Did you ever see them again? Just let them walk by. They're mind their own business. Walk by. But I can tell you right now, the locks won't stop them. So don't think the locks come. So I'm like, okay. never went back there again.
Huh.
I told you. It's crazy.
The only thing that I think, and I told you I had a couple of experiences, and then I'm gonna go that I question about, what was it? One is that I was in Oregon and I had this weird feeling, like as if I was being told, if you're afraid of us, you won't see us. And I was like, and then in my head I thought, okay, I'm not afraid. And then I saw it was a light that was in the sky that moved in a direction like really quickly across something that it shouldn't have happened. That I couldn't explain. And I was like, oh shit, what was that? And then I talked about, I can't explain something where I was driving. It was 10:10:10. And I was on my way to do a show, and I was on Fountain, which runs parallel to Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. And there was a big gush of light that came up. Like I was going to an intersection, a big gush of light came up, and the light went green, yellow, red, like really fast. And I went through this light. And then when I got to the place, right, some guy was having a conversation with me, and he was arguing with me, ironically, about, I think, gay marriage, okay, which was kind of which in West Hollywood was a big issue.
Yeah.
And was, saying things and and mentioned God. And at that time I did say, well, how do we know that what some people think are God is just an alien? And I do believe in God. Like I believe that there's a God, that's just my belief. But at the time I did make that question, and the lights went on and off when I said it. And all of us that were there, that night that witnessed it were like, ooh, like that. And then one girl who actually was a witch goes, cool, like that, had this kind of, thing. And I was like, okay, that I don't know if you really call that an alien thing. And maybe there was somebody in the back, doing the light. But when I told my friend who did admit to me that they were reptilian over many years, or told me, right? He freaked out, and he was like, who are you doing that with? And I go, I don't know. Well, you're doing it with somebody. And I go, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on, so, but it happened, the day that now everybody's going to think I'm freaky. Hey, but I go, now everybody's going to think I'm freaky, but that it happened on the day that I saw the light, and then,
oh my God.
Right. It was the same night, because I was on my way to the gig, and then that happened. So anyway, that's my
synchronicity.
It was interesting. It was odd. It was.
And as I told you before when we talked, there are no small coincidences. Everyone said, well, that's just a coincidence. Not always. With timelines and stuff, you never know. Trust me.
Okay, I have one more question for you before I go. This is from Rudy Rue.
Okay.
This is from Rudy Rue. I know of people who say there's a lot of UFO activity in the Gila Bend area of Arizona. Have you ever had any experiences in that area?
I haven't there, but I know in Gila Bend.
Okay.
There has been some activities there. Also, I think if they really want to see something, Gila Bend, around also Gray Mountain, I think it's called. There's a lot of activity near Gray Mountain, Gila Bend, and also near the Mogollon Rim, like going towards Flagstaff. There's always been stuff. I know Sedona gets some sightings and stuff too, but around the Mogollon Rim, there's always, and of course, Native American reservations. I know now I think it's blocked because of the COVID. They kind of blocked it from any non-natives to go up there, because they're trying to get everything under control. But I've had experiences on the Navajo Res, the Hopi Res, and There's been a lot of stuff going on. Arizona is a hotbed, and so is California. I mean, there's always been stuff going on in California for UFO activities and stuff. But Gila Bend, there is some stuff going on there. In fact, again, if they look up MUFON, Arizona MUFON, MUFON, they can find some stuff there.
Celia Door, Cellar Door 33 says Superstition Mountains too. Well, you know, I think really we could talk about this topic forever, really. You know, I mean, and again, you know, it's right now. This is really cranking up big time. One more question. Okay, I know I should probably be letting you go. Okay,
I'm not going anywhere tomorrow.
Do you know, Carol Rosin, who she has a show on America. She had a show on American Freedom Radio. I don't know if she's still there, but she was Werner von Braun's assistant, or okay. So apparently, according to her, Werner von Braun says that, you know, he talks about how we could have like population control, this and that happened. But then the next thing was a fake alien disclosure. Why do you think somebody like him would say something like that?
I think this is set up, like what we just talked about a few minutes ago, about getting people ready that maybe they want to bring one out.
Do you think that maybe there's a possibility that they would give us roll out a phony one rather than a real one?
So I wouldn't trust the first one that comes out, and who's bringing it out? And I know people say, well, they can land a UFO by the White House. The White House does not represent all of the world.
That's right. Well, no, and you know, that was something that because I did that paper on the Netflix the Netflix Squid Games, right? One of the screenwriting tropes that people go, don't put this in your script, was that when there is an alien invasion, don't make it only happen in America. Why would every alien invasion take place in the United States and not another part of the world? Right?
The best movie was Independence Day, when the ships went all over the world and people were freaking out, and then you had the people with the signs, take me aboard. It's like, yeah, okay. You see what happened in New York when they're flashing their signs. Boom. It's like, who knows? Are these the right ones you want to go see? Because, you know, there's 50,000 races, what we were told, out in this area, all over the outside planet, off planet. 50,000 races. So.
Okay, one more question. Do you think that we've already colonized on Mars?
See, now that's a tricky one. I think at one time they did, and part of Mars is part of the Earth. But if you think about it, how funny it is. Why did the big race to go to Mars and to go to the moon again? I mean, with everything going on, it was George W. Jr. who mentioned, "Well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going back to the moon. Then we're going to work on Afghanistan." It's like, why was it a big deal to go back to the moon and Mars? Maybe because they have to go back and see what they left behind. There's some people claim there's some houses over there. There's pillars. There's stuff there like Egyptian type pyramids. But I think it was, one time colonized, but, who knows? Or the other side of the moon, they claim they do mining on the moon, that the moon is really a satellite and that there is colonization on there, but you only get to see one side, one face of the moon. You never see what they say, the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And, and then again, like, for example, Laura Eisenhower there are people that have claimed that they were asked to go live on Mars. And, Laura Eisenhower even appeared on Russell Brand X, I believe, on the same show as David Icke. And I think one of the guys from Oasis, which one, Liam maybe or something like that, couldn't figure out what was going on. But she said on that show as well that she had been asked to be part of, Mars. I just wrote I'm working on a piece of flash fiction right now about the character going to Mars, and then Elon Musk is there, and then Jeff Bezos shows up, and it's kind of like this whole thing because it seems like the rich people, when we talk about the elite or the billionaires, are spending they're going up in rockets and bringing up William Shatner and everything. Yeah. So it's like okay, well, like all you guys get to go up there and run around and do whatever, but what about the rest of us cows walking around getting stuff at Walmart? Are we going to be able to go up into and rehabilitate on another planet? And I've even said this to my mom before. She goes, well, why can't we fix this planet first? Why don't we take care of this planet before we try to go and colonize ourselves on another planet? And I know that there's the theory that we already ruined Mars to some extent, but there's still air, there's still an atmosphere, there's still a thing. Anyways, the discussion is definitely interesting, and I feel that we could go on forever about it. Are there any last thoughts before I say goodnight that you would like to share with the listeners right now?
I think if you want to have an experience as far as UFO sighting goes, it's just be calm, don't get emotional, get scared. I think to have an experience like that, you have to face it, but be calm and logical about it. Don't feel like, I don't want to get scared, because then they won't come to you because they don't want to frighten you to death. So I think if someone's logically, go check it out, say, let me see. Just go camping, look up in the stars. I mean, it doesn't take much there's some weird stars out there. Go out where you don't have to see city lights. Utah, Arizona, even at Mount Shasta. Talk about sightings. They say Mount Shasta is the biggest sightings out in that area. I mean, just look at the stars, stare outside the city, outside the noise, and just stare up in the stars, and you judge and see what you see for yourself. Trust me, you'll see satellites, you'll see airplanes, but you'll see some lights that you can't explain, that go up and down, backwards, sideways. You can't say it's an airplane or, a balloon. So
yeah,
that's the best way to do it. It's just have some time, meditate, relax, bring a lunch, check it out. I mean, if you can go outside near the Native American reservations, that's the best place to check out stars.
Well, there's definitely a lot of activity that's been happening in the skies, and it seems like there's a lot of people that are, now that we have these cell phones and devices, we're able to record it. All right, so I want.
Welcome to come back to your show again.
You are welcome to come back to my show, to the show again, and I'm really glad that you were persistent with me, and that that you showed your identity, and that we got everything cleared up. So
it's the Italian debate.
Hey, hey, you know what? It works. It's good to know that you're not a Hispanic man named Castro with Luis Castro. And not to say anything wrong with Hispanic people, because I'm Hispanic, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it's not me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not Luis Castro, whoever he may be. God bless him. God bless you, Luis Castro, out there. You know, there's tons of Luis Castros, I'm sure. Yeah, you're Italian. You're not Cuban. So let's not get confused, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show. I'm going to say good night, and we love to have you back. When you give me your link about your book so that people can support you, and if they want to read it, then I will make sure that later on that I link that in the description of this video when I get it.
Thank you, and tell all your listeners out there, thank you for giving me a chance to and let me get on.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, you have a good evening.
All right. Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I saw Cellar Door saying, I can't wait to get home and be with Yeshua. By the way, I want to say that a lot of us prayed for Mark Sallow. to get better, and he did show up tonight. So keep your prayers in mind. He's been having, I believe it was too much potassium in his body, and he got real sick. And so Mark Sallow comes to is a regular here in the chat, and I just want to give him a shout out. So if you want to send a prayer for him that he keeps recovering and getting healthy as well. And yeah, okay, so the possibility of what a UFO is and what we're seeing in the skies, you know, again, some people say, is it our own military? Are they interdimensional beings? I don't know. I don't really have, I mean, I can't say for sure. I don't have all the answers, but I hope you enjoyed exploring the topic. And, you know, that we want to give people a chance to tell them their experience, and at least to say, well, is it possible that this happened? Okay, so thank you for having me on, Terry. Thank you for being persistent. And also, I wanted to like say I'm offering him a chance to come on the show and prove who he was and be, you know, let us see him, because I only think that's fair. If you are suspicious or doing whatever and you're not sure about somebody or whatever, they also have the right to prove who they are, and to have a platform. I think a nice environment, a welcoming environment to share their experience and their research, even if it's controversial. And you know, because I like having that open dialogue, and I hope you do too. So on that note, I'm going to thank you guys for listening. And I don't know, maybe we should play like, I'm still into the song again, so I'll kind of like play this song one more time.